Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to talk about ice fishing on Lake Erie. We're going to focus on the Ohio side, the access sites, safety, just a general overview. I know there's probably a lot of questions from new ice fishermen wanting to hit Lake Erie for walleye and perch during this ice season as the ice continues to thicken and grow and close up the cracks and become better and better conditions. So we're I would say we're still early in the ice season, approaching good ice conditions as long as we have the weather and wind to cooperate in the next few weeks. And then you're going to start seeing the masses come out. They've already started a little bit. You'll probably see that this weekend. The ice is getting good. Obviously there's safety concerns that you need to take into consideration. So I'm going to start off with that. So if you're looking at going to Lake Erie, and this pretty much goes for anywhere you go ice fishing. So basically go with a buddy or a group of people, or if you have to go up there alone, follow a group out that's in the parking lot or somebody that's been there before and knows big lake ice. Big lake ice is a different animal than going to your neighborhood pond and catching bluegill and bass. Lake Erie ice can move, especially in wind with current. And current can also affect the ice thickness in areas. For instance, in the South Passage between South Pass and Mouse Island can get real sketchy in the winter time. That ice can get thin, just due to the current ripping through there. So go with somebody that's been there before or knows the ropes, or meet a group when you get up there if you have to go alone, and your day is going to be much better. So I'm going to go through some gear here that basically every ice fisherman should have. Bring a spud bar, a throwable, a rope, and wear clothes that are for the weather. I understand you're probably going to be in a heated ice shanty or similar, something like that, but make sure you wear clothes. And most guys are running a float suit. Not only for safety, but they're really warm. That they're a wind break and a water break if you're kneeling on the ice and stuff like that. So those are a great idea. Talking about meeting guys in the parking lot. So communications, I think, is a key part of ice fishing on Lake Erie, especially on the Ohio side where you get a lot of traffic. Everybody knows these walleye are close enough to get to. The fishing can be great, especially later in the season. The fishing gets really good. Talk to the guys in the parking lot. Find out where those bad spots are. If they crossed if you see a group coming in, ask them where the cracks are at. If the cracks are moving, and you already know the wind because you should have checked it on the way up there. So stuff like that can really help your day just be fun and relaxing on the water. And lastly, just don't push the limits on this lake. The later it gets in the season, I know the fishing gets better, but you have to watch the wind as spring approaches. We get into late February, that weather can switch and become really warm, really rainy, really windy, and it will push and deteriorate this ice. Not necessarily fast deterioration, but that ice can get kind of sketchy late in the season. But more the wind and moving the shelves around as it melts in different spots, it has room to move later in the season. That's when people typically get in trouble. So next is following the regs. Make sure you have registered ice transportation. If you're taking an ATV snowmobile, or Argo, needs to be registered by the state. They will ticket you for that. That's just like any off-road registration. You have to have it to ice fish in Ohio. Don't park in undesignated areas. I'm going to go through the parking a little bit at each of these 5 sites that I'm going to go over. That will get a place shut down or put eyes on it if people start parking all over the place that they're not supposed to be. If a place is overcrowded, you need to figure out how to fit everybody in there legally, or go to a different access site, or wait till later. You just can't park wherever you want. That's when, problems happen and sites get shut down. We've already had changes in the recent years because of stuff like that. And also the trash. Please pick up all your trash, especially on the ice and the access site. I mean, it's just don't do it, and there won't be a problem. So now that that's out of the way, I'm going to go through a few access sites here for you guys. And this may not be, this isn't for everyone. I know it isn't, because there's some very experienced ice fishermen, I'm sure, that are watching this and going, yeah. Well, this is for the guy that wants to come up, maybe try it, or he's going out with a guide and he doesn't know anything about the area or anything like that. That's what this is for. I know there's guys that have been ice fishing for 40 years and they know exactly what they're doing. But all right, first up is Catawba State Park. Here's the parking area. It's right at the tip of the Catawba Island on the northwest side. There's a little pier there. Most guys either walk or ride their ATV, whatever they're on, or whatever their mode of transportation is, right off the beach there. Just be aware, and I talked about, knowing where the cracks and the current is. There's some current in this area the further north you get. So, and as guys test the limits and start poking around north, you'll see some of that come into play. So, but this is a very easy access site. Parking is right there. Like I said, there's a little bit of limited parking there at Catawba. So you kind of got to make do, especially on a weekend. Definitely. And that goes into, just don't park wherever you want. You start parking the grass and stuff, we're going to end up having problems with, DNR or site access, and they'll just shut down site access. If it gets overcrowded, they'll just stop letting people in. So in this specific spot, the ice fishermen create a lot of noise coming in and out of the water. Some guys are fishing in close. Some guys are going miles out. Well, as they move on that ice, it's going to push those fish out. So later in the season, obviously you'll see guys start going further and further and further, and some of that's due to the noise in close. So just be aware of that. If you're coming out late in the season, you may have to travel out a little bit to find some fish. So, okay, on to the next site. The next site is Port Clinton Beach. It's right next to the Portage River here. This is access. They allow walking and machines. Again, you got to be registered if you got a machine. Steer clear of the Portage River here. There's obviously current coming out of that river. Just stay away from it. That's where you can get in trouble. You try to cut this corner around here, and that ice might be thin from the current from that river. There may not be a lot of current right now because we've had a dry year, but that current can get ripping in there if we have a little warm day or something like that. So just steer clear of that, and you should be okay. So next up is Camp Perry. I may be wrong on this, but as far as I know, you have to rent a cabin or house to be able to access the ice from this location. Now, in years before that, and that decision was made a few years ago, but before that, you could just park on the beach and, just access the ice like any other site. They were getting a lot of traffic and people were clogging up roads and stuff like that. So they made it a few years ago where you have to rent a house, hotel room or something like that. Because there is a barracks room, and I think it's right here. You can rent that as well. But there's little cabins here, 6-person cabins. There's little townhouses right here you can rent, and it's right off the beach here. So if you do want to go there, you might have a little bit of private access if you're renting a room. So, but that's the deal on Camp Perry. And the fishing can be really good here later in the season as the fish, start piling up out west. It's typically good fishing out there in February. So next up is McGee East Campground right here. So they charge, the latest I saw was they charge $10 to park. And the good thing about here is they've got live bait right on site. It's right off Route 2. So you got your bait, your access, everything. So say you're staying somewhere else, you can go straight to here and not have to stop anywhere else before you go fishing. So, and last up is McGee Marsh. Super popular site. Everybody knows about it. Beach access right here. You can see lots of parking. Again, park in the designated spots and don't trash the place. Otherwise, they'll end up shutting it down. I'm assuming this place is still open. I know there was some problems there one year, and they may have shut access down. But I think it's open this year. You may want to double check on that and just correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here. But this is a really good access site because it's close to good fishing. And you can get away from people. Just the wide open lake right here. So those are the access sites I wanted to cover and the safety items. Okay, if you made it this long in the video, please like and subscribe. I'll have a few more coming out this weekend. Maybe not doing with ice fishing. Not sure what the topic will be. But I'll have a few more videos coming out this weekend. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.